Gio.
BT and Sal.
Kevin and Tiki.
Keith McPherson, your nighttime host on The Fan.
On the fan.
On the fan.
On the fan.
It's WFAN Daily, hosted by Pete Hoffman.
That's right, it's Hoff with you right now, returning for another episode of WFAN Daily. As no local teams are playing today, so what are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? Well, we can talk about the awful ALCS game between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners, which, by the way, I do want to point out one thing. Anybody that sits there and talks about Pete Alonso completely being the worst defensive first baseman out there, I just want to say that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. made a very similar play that Pete Alonso made in this season that got Kodai Senga hurt. He fielded a ball at first base. He did a soft toss to first base, and it was kind of a little bit elevated. And rather than Kodai Senga, when Kodai Senga did it, he came up lame, and he ended up having to go on the IL, all this stuff. Shane Bieber went up athletically, caught the ball athletically, came down, and had his foot on the first base athletically. And that's what happens when you're an athlete. No offense to Kodai Senga. Clearly, he is not an athlete. He is a pitcher. He just pitches. That's what he does. And that is why you could sit there and blame Pete Alonso for everything that's gone wrong at first base with the Mets. But other people need to take some blame too. Kodai Senga just wasn't fielding well, and he's not a great fielder. Let's be honest. Every time he seems to make an athletic move anywhere, he gets hurt. That happened last season. In the 5 2/3 that he pitched last year, why did he get pulled out and go on the IL again? Because some sort of cramp or whatever in his leg. I mean, listen, I don't need to get into Kodai Senga right now. Let's get into the New York Rangers. As last night on Tuesday night, I ended up going to the game. The Rangers lose to the Edmonton Oilers 2-0, and it's starting to get a little aggravating about the New York Rangers here because they clearly have good defense. They clearly have great goaltending. So much so that in 5 games so far, the combined goals that Igor Shesterkin and Jonathan Quick have given up have been a combined 4 goals in 5 games. Yet somehow they are 2-3 on the season. The reason why is because at home, they have scored zilch, 0, no goals. There have been no goals scored at home by the New York Rangers, and it's getting to a point where it's very frustrating. The crowd was booing a little bit. The power play was bad. We'll go up and down the issues with the New York Rangers, but for what the goalies are doing and what the defense is doing, somehow this team is not responding offensively, and it's to a point where you got to be a little bit nervous. And personally speaking, I think the main culprits are, and they just are, it is what it is. It's not my opinion. It is what it is. Mika Zibanejad and Artemi Panarin. They are looking older. JT Miller, he's not that guy who's going to put up 100 points this year with the New York Rangers. It's not going to happen. He had a magical season a few years ago with Vancouver, but to trade for him last year, to think that he was going to come to New York and all of a sudden be that prolific point scorer with the Rangers, it just wasn't going to happen. He's not that guy. He's a nice physical player. He can do a little bit of everything, but he's not going to change the complexion of this team. And the young kids that they brought in, Lafreniere, has been an utter disappointment. What they really need is, and it's a joke at this point in time, but what they really need is a guy like Chris Kreider who could just bang the net, who could just sit there and pop a goal in here and there. Because yesterday, and this has been all season long, so it's not just me just talking about yesterday, but I was there yesterday. But that was the biggest issue. It's not that they can't shoot. It's not that they're not getting pucks on net, because they are. They're putting pucks on net. That's not the problem. The problem is there's no rebounds. There's no deflections, or very few deflections. If anything, the puck is getting clearly to the goalie, and the goalie's having no problem stopping it. There's no clean breakaways. Every time there's a breakaway, there's nobody else that's that's able to be on the breakaway with the with whoever it is. We hit a couple posts yesterday. That definitely hurt. But I mean, there's no 2-on-1s. There's no odd numbers going down the other side. And it's frustrating. It's getting to a point where it's like, when are they going to break out? Because then on the other hand, we're talking about the home games that they're 0-3 on. And then on the road, and listen, they played Buffalo. Okay, so that's a nice, easy game to get nice on, to get right on. They scored 4 goals. Again, a couple an empty netter that helped. But then they went to Pittsburgh and they put up 6 goals there in Pittsburgh. So who shut them out in the first game of the season, right? Remember, they got shut out by the Penguins in the opening game of the season at home. They go to Pittsburgh, put up 6 goals. So it's like, what's going on here? What's with this happy medium? Is there too much pressure at home? Is Mike Sullivan, choking? I don't know. All I know is this. The power play doesn't look very strong. The offense doesn't look strong. There's no playmakers at the moment. They're not getting clean shots. They're not really getting good shots. That's what it comes down to. There's no good setup. There's no good anything. On the power play, it's not that they're not taking shots on the power play. It's that they're not getting good opportunities. It's like any opportunity that they take is a sloppy, at this point in time, we've passed the puck 4 times already. Someone's going to put it on net, so I guess I'll just be the guy to do it. But you're not actually doing anything. Yesterday, there was a 5-on-3 for 12 seconds. I know it was only 12 seconds, but still, they were able to box in, and they seemed to be able to have control of that puck, and there wasn't even close to a good shot. Everyone closed up. The defense closed up. The goalie had a good view, and I think maybe they got a shot on net or whatever it was. Maybe it got hit the backboard or whatever, hit the glass of the boards. But that's about it. Like, it was a slap in the face to what we've seen with Rangers teams in the past. And now remember last year, what was the big thing about last year? The last year was there was no defense, right? Last year there was Igor Shesterkin couldn't stop, a beach ball that went to him. Igor Shesterkin and Jonathan Quick, again, Quick only played 1 game, but Igor Shesterkin has let up 3 goals. 3 goals in 4 games. And he's 2-2. 3 goals in 4 games. It's pretty embarrassing. He's doing everything that you ask him to do. And the defense is playing pretty fantastic. And there's just no creativity. And this, again, goes back to Mika and Panarin. Those are the 2 guys on this team that are the playmakers, are the goal scorers, supposed to be the goal scorers on this team. And they are not coming close to putting it in the back of the net. They're not coming close, at least at home, to creating some sort of scoring opportunity. They're very slow to everything. And it's at a point where it's going to wear thin. And I don't know what type of team. We're talking about this team just signed a major contract with Igor Shesterkin. The extension's there, so he's going to be here for a while. What are you going to add to this team to uplift the offense? If you got the defense covered, okay, fine. Like, excited about the defense. But where is the offense? Who are you going to bring in to put the puck in the back of the net? Who's going to be the guy? You trade him away, Chris Kreider. You traded him away in Capo Caco. Remember last year, Caco couldn't sniff the ice. They got rid of him. He did hella good with the Ducks last year. So you got a bunch of guys in Anaheim who are doing better than the guys over here at MSG. And again, you're talking about young guys. Caco's still young. Lafreniere's still young. But Lafreniere, the trust that they've had in Lafreniere over the years, he has done nothing to earn it. He's done nothing. He was a high draft pick. I get that. But at some point in time, you just got to either cut the tie. And listen, again, we're talking about Caco and Lafreniere. Same thing. They didn't give Caco the ice time. They've been giving Lafreniere the opportunities. They keep on giving Lafreniere the opportunities. And he still comes up. Listen, he scored the first goal of the season for the Rangers. So I guess that we have to be happy about. But it's just lackluster. And there's going to have to be a real reevaluation, because the one thing that can't happen is you can't have Mike Sullivan come in. You can't have him pick the entire coaching staff. They bring back Dan Quinn. They bring back all this, that they bring this unit together, and nothing changes or nothing gets better. It's going to be a problem. And Chris Drury is part of the problem here. He's the guy he's been up and down with his team. He built something that was going somewhere nice, and it just totally went down the drain last year. And that's all on Chris Drury. So, Rangers, it's only 5 games in. Can they fix it? Remember, last year, at one point in time, they were 11-4 to start the season. And everyone's like, oh, the Rangers are fine. Don't worry about it. And there was always that trepidation of, they're not really that good. They haven't been playing good hockey. They're 11-4, but they're not that good. And then they dipped down to 11-11, and then the rest was history. They missed the playoffs. So this team at 2-3 right now, it's still young. The season's still very young, but they're going to have to discover how to put a puck in the back of the net at home very soon. And they're going to have to open up the scoring. They're going to have to figure it out, especially on the power play. You can't go 0-3 at home on the power play. You can't do it. You have the advantage. You're at home. Crowd's on your side. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean absolutely anything. Comfort of sleeping in your own bed. Nope, doesn't make a difference. They have been putrid at home. And I hope, hopefully for them, they change it up real soon, as they're going to need some help. They're going to need some help offensively. Really quickly, I do want to get into one other thing, because I saw this pop up and it made me think here. The New York Jets are terrible right now. They don't have a quarterback. They have Justin Fields, who has been as disappointing as I could have expected. I thought he was going to be halfway decent. I thought he was going to be able to figure something out. He can't figure out his ass from his elbow, let's be honest with you. And then you have Derek Carr, who just recently said he's interested in making a comeback. And I know that Tyrod Taylor's available for the Jets too. He's still around. But if I had to tell you, you could choose between these 3 quarterbacks, who would you prefer? Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, or Derek Carr? I understand the fault of all 3. And I understand Derek Carr declined the Bengals job. But let me explain to you why he declined the Bengals job. Because Joe Burrow, a guy who's mobile, a guy who's an amazing quarterback, who could potentially return by week 14. Let's see what happens. I mean, right now the Bengals are so bad, there's no reason for Burrow to come back. But if he did, that's the first thing, is he's only playing up until week 14 for a team, and that's that. Also, their offensive line isn't very good. Hence the reason why Joe Burrow got destroyed. And I wondered why Joe Burrow was ranked so low this season, coming into the season, and I couldn't figure out why. I knew the defense was bad. I knew that the Bengals defense was so bad, but you expected, if anything, hey, that means more points for Joe Burrow, because he's going to put up a lot of touchdowns. Him, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, like we said. But no, he gets hurt week 1, and it's basically a wrap for his season. And why? Because they knew how bad the offensive line is. The Jets' offensive line is actually pretty productive. So you take away the fact that there's no quarterback fighting for a spot. Take away the fact that the offensive line is actually pretty good. And actually, the one thing that has been pretty decent, if you even look at the Denver Bronco game and you look at some of these games, the defense has actually kept you in the games. So why not take a shot on Derek Carr? Why not give him a call and say, listen, if you want it, it's yours. We need to win games because we need to change the way that the feel of this team. And Justin Fields is not doing it. I don't care what you say about Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers just won last weekend. Okay? They've been looking much better than expected, which is a shocker to me. They've won a couple. I think they're 3-3 now, which is crazy. But that's also the NFL. NFL is so up and down. It's so weird. Okay? The Giants could be 3-4 before we know it. You never know. That being said, though, Justin Fields is not the quarterback of the future for the Jets team. You know that Tyrod Taylor is not the future of this New York Jets team. But you bring in Derek Carr. You let him play the rest of the season. If he likes it, maybe he comes back. If he doesn't like it, whatever. But give him a chance to at least see what they could do with a productive offense. I think that Derek Carr, out of those three quarterbacks, is more productive than anybody else on that roster. Let's see what Derek Carr has left in the tank. And his biggest issue, the only reason why he wasn't playing anymore was because he got injured too much. And that's why he retired randomly. I'd like to see him get one more shot. I always wanted him here. Listen, I wanted Justin Fields here too. That backfired. So Derek Carr could backfire too. But what do you have to lose at this point in time? The team is as gross as they've ever been. It doesn't make a difference. But you got to try new things. And if what's on the roster isn't working, then go outside the roster. And guess what? It doesn't really cost you anything besides money. You don't have to trade for a quarterback. And if you keep on losing with Derek Carr, you still get to go and draft a quarterback high next year. So there's a lot of good things about this, right? If Derek Carr sucks, what's the worst thing that happens? You go out and draft a quarterback next year. If he's halfway good, guess what? Maybe him and Garrett Wilson can figure something else. Maybe you rise a stock with some of the other guys. Justin Fields is not it. When you have a passing, total net passing of -10 in a game, guess what? Justin Fields is not it. And you can say whatever you want about Tyrod Taylor. Oh, he could have gotten a shot too. Tyrod Taylor, we know at the end of the day what he's going to do. It's not much. So Derek Carr is the only one of those quarterbacks that I actually would feel comfortable with, who I think that could actually put up some decent numbers and maybe make this Jets team somewhat competitive. Now, the downside of that is, say if he is actually competitive, say if he does come to the team and can actually bring some life to this team and they start winning games, then a lot of people are going to be very upset because, oh, well, now you take away from the draft pick. Well, make up your mind. What do you want? Because this team is so bad right now, it's pathetic to watch. Do you want a season to go by that you're watching just bad football every single game and don't care? I mean, if that's what you want, then totally fine. Then just keep on running out Justin Fields. Okay, that's fine. But don't complain about it then. Understand the process. So it's either one or the other. Go get Derek Carr or go run Justin Fields into the ground. Either way, you got nothing to lose. You're not really going to win much anyway, so give it a shot. All right. That's it for now for another episode of WFAN Daily. There'll be ton more as there's going to be an offseason coming very soon for the baseball teams. We're seeing the people that are opted out, Cody Bellinger, Pete Alonso, Edwin Diaz, I'm sure will be following suit very soon as well. And there'll be conversations between trade talks and whatever else that's going on. So get ready for that. Obviously, the Mets news, the only Mets news out there is that they hired a couple of coaches. That means absolutely nothing to me. None of those guys do anything in the long run. Need to get players first. I don't care about what the coaches do or who they are. Got to go out and get me some actual players on the team that can hit the baseball, that can throw the baseball, and they can get some outs. That's what I'm looking for. Till then, I don't care if you had freaking you were able to bring Lou Gehrig back and make him the hitting coach for the Mets. It wouldn't make a difference. You need to get players who can actually hit. Okay? So I don't care what Kai Correa has up his sleeve. Don't feed me garbage that, oh, we found this guy who's been on the bench for the Pirates for the past 6 years. But we know that we're going to be able to unlock something in him with Kai Correa. Get ready. I could give a flying you-know-what. Get me studs who can put the bat on ball, make contact, get on base, maybe hit a few home runs, and put up some runs. That's all it is. All right. Pete Hoffman with you on WFAN Daily. I appreciate you. Follow me at Hoff WFAN. I'll be back tomorrow with more. You can always hit me up at Hoff WFAN, as I said. I'll see you tomorrow with BT and Sal, bright and early at 10 a.m. Tomorrow, or today, depending on when you're listening. Either way, Thursday at 12. Aaron Boone and then Brian Cashman we will air that on WFAN with BT and Sal. So listen tightly as if you want to hear what Boone and Cashman have to say after the season's over. So we'll have that on BT and Sal on WFAN, and then more to come, as always. All right, guys. I'll see you guys later. Peace.